My name is Alphonzo. I'm alcoholic. Hi, everybody. It's good to be here today. I'd like to thank all my friends for coming from Fayetteville and Clements and Clinton and Roseboro. It's just nice to have friends like that today, to provide that support. I've been telling myself, I guess Steve asked me to share my story back in March, and I'm that's okay, no problem. But as the time got closer and closer, I hear myself trying to tell my story to myself, I can never get past my name's Alphonzo, I'm alcoholic. Everything else just goes out the window. So, and today I've been trying to really turn it over to my higher power and just say what's from the heart, And it's really interesting. It's really neat because I talked to some earth people, and I told them I'll be sharing my story and things. And the lady said, well, just share from your heart, And I have other people that just prayed for me, not to mention today. Steve prayed for me today. And that's really nice. And that's something I didn't get back there when I was drinking and drugging. My sobriety date is June 30th, 1987. God willing, come next month, I'll be celebrating 34 years of sobriety. I just turned 60 May the 4th, and that's another milestone in my recovery, I can remember when I came in. I came in at a young age of 26, and one of the things I wanted to do when I first came in, after being to a couple of meetings and things like that there and trying to get this program really quick, trying to be an old-timer, and you guys told me in order to be an old-timer, you don't drink and don't die, so that's what I've been trying to do, on a daily basis, not drink and not die, and hopefully one of these days I can be that old-timer. I'll do my best to try to tell you guys what it was like, what happened, and what it's like today, and I'm trying to slow down and do that, I get kind of rushing sometimes. But I grew up in a military family, 3 sisters. I had no brothers. Always wanted a brother. My dad he was military. He was away a lot in Vietnam and things like that. But I really didn't have that big brother type person to kind of guide me through life, and always wanted that. We moved around a lot, Alaska, South Carolina, Georgia. At one point, we moved to Hanau, Germany. That's where I went to high school. I went there. Hanau was in the 7th grade when we got in there. And that's kind of where my drinking kind of took off at. Being there. I was that young kid. A lot of people talk about. For me, it's just being that shy person. I was really shy. Going to school dances, standing back there on the wall, just looking and things, and not being able to dance, not sober anyway. Once I got a little alcohol in me, there's really nothing I couldn't do, to be honest with you. But that's when my drinking kind of took off at. I had a friend of mine, his father, he worked in the club system overseas, and their liquor cabinet was just full of booze all the time. So one of the things we used to do is we used to get all kind of booze together, put in a little mayonnaise jar, drink it on our way to school, and I had Spanish first period, so my R's were really rolling in Spanish class, and I thought I was really learning something, but I wasn't at all, but like I said, I went to Hanau American High School, and we just loved that school to death. As a matter of fact, the principal that was there then, he is still alive today, and back in the 70s, I thought he was an old guy, and he's still alive, and I feel like I'm an old guy now, but he's still around, and it's really great. But like I said, back then, I did everything wrong. I stole, I drank. I was just a bad kid. I was really a bad child. And my father, me and my father, we had some disagreements, I guess. You might say we didn't see things eye to eye. I could never measure up to my father, and for a long time I really hated my dad. I can remember back then going to dances and stuff, little youth dances, to different places, and we just stayed drunk. The kids, we stayed drunk all the time. But there's an incident when I came home, and my mom and dad was fighting. It was a little worse than usual. But they were fighting, and I come in the house, and I'm still drunk, still hungover, and trying to defend my mother, and I couldn't. I couldn't defend my mom, and her being afraid of my father like she was, we stayed on the third floor. She ran out on the balcony to try to get away from my dad, and all I could see was her hands leaving the ledge, falling down three stories. And like I say, me being as drunk as I was, there's nothing I can do to help her. And that bothered me. My father just pushed me out the way, and there's just nothing I can do. And like I say, for a long time, I just hated my dad for what he had done to my mom. Me being the only son. It seemed like my mom or moms, they kind of know their sons. She knew me anyway. A lot of times I can be at home and not say anything, and she'd know something was going on, something was wrong with me, or I was in some sort of trouble or something. Which I was in trouble a lot. I was in trouble a lot growing up back then. But one of the things that being over there and overseas going to school, and coming back to the States, I wanted to let all my friends know that I knew how to drink. I was grown up. I was a man now. And overseas, it was easy to get alcohol, over in Germany. They didn't care. At lunchtime we used to go to the little Total Loto market or stand, get a bottle of wine for $1. That was lunch, a bottle of wine for lunch. And that was, it seemed like it was every day. Like I say, but once I came back to the States, I wanted to let everybody know who I was. I'd grown up, how I experienced alcohol and other things. And I came back to the States, and the same thing was going on. I was in high school, trying to pass high school, trying to stay out of trouble. I really don't know how I graduated, but it seems like for me, when my feet get to the fire, I do what I do in order to get to the next stage, and it's been that way my whole life, even through the military. But the one thing that I knew that I wanted to do when I graduated from high school, that was to join the military. And the only reason I wanted to join the military was because I was away from my parents, for one. I can drink and do what I want to do. Didn't have to be accountable to anybody, And they talk about the military, they have those 3 hots in a cot, They're going to feed me, they're going to give me a place to live, then they're going to pay me every month, And I'm like, this is a dream job, This is what I want to do, and that's exactly what I did, for I guess basically the first 9 years in the military. Being the good alcoholic that I was, I wanted to make sure that I worked hard and then I played hard. I did the things I needed to do in order for people to notice how good a soldier I was. But after work, I was that Ned the wino guy that my friends used to call me and things. I hope I ain't going too fast here, going too far. But that was in the military. But like I said, I wanted to join the military for those reasons. I came back, when I joined the military, I came right back to Hanau where I went to high school. So it was familiar territory for me. I knew everything, knew where to go, knew what to do, and that's what I did. That's when my drinking really, really took off. I did things that I was ashamed of, things that I was really ashamed of. Waking up in strange places. I can remember going out one time downtown, drunk, doing something, try to fight somebody. I came back to the barracks to get my Army buddies to help me. Hey, we need to go out, find these dudes, man. They just laughed at me and stuff, But just stuff like that there, the things that I thought was okay, it really was not. I came up hot on my on urinalysis, the first time, and I had this commander, big black guy named Rodney Mack. And he called me to his office one day and he slammed his fist down, asked me, pretty much, what happened, and I'm like, sir, I'm taking medication, I don't know why it came up positive like that, and give me a chance to go back and regroup myself and find out, how can I get out of this, how can I get out of this one, and I had to come back to him and like, well, the doctor said there's no way that THC could come from the medication and whatnot, And, but, it was just things like that there, I constantly did things that, because of alcohol and drugs, that I thought was okay, really. I thought what I was doing was okay. I didn't see any problems with it, you know. It was always, seemed like always somebody was out to get me. The man was always out to get me and things, you know. But being over there, one of the things that happened when I was overseas then, me and my roommates, other buddies, we were going to go to Amsterdam, you know, where they got the legal stuff, you know, and we were going to go out there and just have a party and come back to Germany. But what happened was I got so drunk that day that they left without me, and I was really upset, you know. But then I come to find out they was trying to cross the border and they got caught by the border police, whatnot, you know, bringing drugs into Germany and things, you know. And I wasn't mad anymore, you know. That's one of, you know, I guess for me that's one of the things, you know, God looking out for me and I couldn't look out for myself, you know. It's amazing today the way things happen, you know, those coincidences, the way things happen in my life. And today, you know, I really try to look at things in a positive, no matter what it is. You know, I try to spin it to that, you know, and it wasn't always like that. These things that I was taught, you know, here in Alcoholics Anonymous, you know, but, yeah, my friend, he got sent to Leavenworth and things, and, you know, we were still drinking and drugging, you know, but all this stuff here, you know, was really nothing that caused me to really look at myself, you know, not then. You know, I was still doing what I wanted to do. You know, like I said, when I came in the military, I got promoted to E4 really quick, maybe 9 months. Every time I got promoted was with a waiver, you know, because I worked hard, always working. You know, and alcohol was a part of that, you know. You know, I can remember I used to drive this 10,000-pound forklift, you know. And my norm was my music box in there. I had my alcohol up in there, and I'm riding around moving parts and stuff and drinking, you know, and that's what I did all the time, you know, and I thought it was okay. You know, there were some days where I didn't even go to work because of my alcohol consumption. You know, I thought it was okay just to not go. You know, my boss coming to my room, you know, trying to talk to me and things and ask me what's going on. But, you know, a lot of times, you know, people I hung out with or people that hung out in my rooms were people that were like me. You know, if you didn't drink or drug like I didn't associate with you. You know, and that's the way life has always been. Always had this look about myself that I look at people and I tell you to stay away from me. You know, I want to hang out with you. You know, those clean-cut people, you know, and, you know, that's just the way it was, you know. But I left there and I came back to the States. I was in Hanau, joined the military, came back to the States. When I came back to the States, I was fortunate enough to get stationed right back at home where my parents were, right in Columbus, Georgia. You know, so here I am back in familiar territory again, you know, and everything's hunky-dory, you know, so I thought. You know, I got my first DWI being at home. It's quite interesting. I fell asleep at a railroad track. You know, the train took too long. You know, if it had just kept going, you know, I would have made it through. But it took too long. I fell asleep. The cop reached in and turned my car off for me. You know, and I'm like, oh God. So now I had to deal with my parents. So my father and my mom had to come to the jail and pick me up and things. You know, and I guess this was the start of me just, you know, although I seemed like I was the black sheep of the family, this was really like the start of me just going downhill, really going downhill and things, you know. Stationed there at Fort Benning, I got in trouble with the law. It's like within twice in 1 week, you know. You know, drinking and driving and things. I was stopped at a stop sign, and I get ready to go to the stop sign. A police car come by, almost hit it, you know, and I'm telling him he almost hit me, you know, and this is the story of my life, you know. I just keep telling people it's their fault. It's not my fault, you know. If you hadn't have been there, you know, not to mention me going down the wrong way street one time and getting stopped by the police, you know, and the military police and things, you know. But like I say, bad things just kept happening to Alphonzo. I can't remember if I came up positive on your analysis or what happened. But I had a commander one time, you know. I did something wrong. But he called me into his office. He's going to give me a field grade Article 15, you know, one of those big ones, you know. And he gave me probation instead. He says, well, I'm going to give you 6 months to clean your act up or to not get in trouble. I thought that was a life sentence for me. I couldn't do anything for 6 months. I couldn't stay out of trouble for 6 months. So that was really hard. I had to kind of monitor my drinking and the things that I did, try to stay out of trouble and things like that. As a matter of fact, that was the one time my dad kind of stuck up for me. He went to my commander's office because they was trying to chapter me out the Army, kick me out from my 3 hots and a cot, This was my safe haven. I didn't want to leave the military, Not like that anyway, but even in that, I'm trying to find somebody to marry so I can get benefits and all these things, And I didn't want to leave, I didn't want to leave. Not about kicking and screaming. But, some friends had told me my dad had came to the commander's office and he spoke to the commander and things. And they heard him slamming his hand on the desk and blah, 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 and just taking up for his son, And I thought that was really, really honorable, But what happened was they ended up leaving there, going someplace else, those geographical changes. If I could just go someplace else, I'd be okay. It wouldn't be so bad. I ended up going to Nuremberg, Germany. And when I got there, I wasn't there 30 days. Rented me a car. And the guy said, well, talking about the insurance and stuff. He said, well, if you wreck it, just make sure you do a good job. So that's what I did. I did a good job. I ended up wrecking this rental car, and I turned the corner too short, but I parked in the parking lot. And the next day, called the MPs. Hey, somebody hit my car. And they looked at it, and they were scratching their head for a while, trying to figure it out. And my boss, he comes out there. He's like, I told him what happened. Somebody hit it. He's, oh, man, that's bad. Hopefully they find the person, And then the MPs, they kept going back and forth, And finally I told them the truth, I ran into a stop sign, right down the street down there. But because it happens, the past day and things, I didn't get any trouble over that. But like I said, that's just how my drinking just continued to escalate like that. I used to work in this warehouse doing supply and things like that there. But back then, my mind just got so distorted as far as reality and things. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't real. I was watching a whole bunch of war movies and things, and guys out there in Vietnam, sweating and drinking and doing stuff like that. And I thought it was okay for me to drink at work. I really did, As long as I was working, I was getting the work done. And I can remember one day, me and a guy out there on the weekends working, had some beer, running on some cold water because we didn't have a cooler. I don't know why we didn't think we'd get a cooler or anything, but had cold water running on this beer. And my boss comes in and he just went at us, man, like, what are you guys doing? And I thought it was okay. And as soon as about 15, 20 minutes later, the post commander comes up in there, and I'm like, wow, we about half tipsy and things like that there, But like I said, I just continued to get in trouble, continue to do things. I found myself down in the red light district, where the prostitutes and things were. I was so drunk I couldn't even go up the stairs. I'm sitting on the side of the stairs somewhere, just passed out. And this wasn't Alphonzo. This wasn't the life that I thought I would be living. And that happened on several occasions. I can remember at one point trying to curb my drinking. See, I had just one beer, and in Germany, they got some good beer in Germany, So that one beer was a double bock, I think is what they call it, but it was that dark beer, and it was, I went crazy, drinking that one beer. I'm trying to fight the friends that I'm with and stuff, and even that could not, I couldn't change my behavior, no matter what I did, something was always going wrong. I say a lot of things happen in between, if I think of something, I'll come back to it. But at some point, I was stationed in Nuremberg, Germany. No, as a matter of fact, stationed in Nuremberg, Germany. But what happened was I was starting getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. I had friends that were in the drug and alcohol program back then. I started to hear more and more about Alcoholics Anonymous, the commercials on TV and stuff like that, and it started to take effect a little bit as far as me just being more conscious of what's going on around me, how I'm acting, how my drinking is, and wanting to be a different person, I can remember the one thing that did change my life in order for me to really look at myself was a good friend of mine. I met her a couple of years ago, coming up 95, as a matter of fact, and we stopped and chatted for a while. But she told me one day, she said, "Alphonzo, you drink so much, you're never sober," and that kind of hit home with me. Not that it was 5:30 in the morning, and I'm getting ready to go to PT, but this beautiful young lady would say this to me, that I drank that much, that just hurt my feelings, for the most part, but it gave me a chance to really look at myself, maybe I'm doing something wrong, I can do something better, and I started to do things a little different, at some point I was going to a alcohol and drug counseling, doing that for a couple of times. I remember going there, just lying about my drinking, how much you drink. I'm like, well, 2 beers, that's about it, The truth of the matter is, I was drinking a 6-pack, a half a gallon of liquor and, wine, Wine back then was just, it's like dessert, it was an appetizer, and that's just the way I looked at it, and that's how my drinking consumption was when I was in Germany, that case of beer, half a gallon of liquor and, bottles of wine, and that's all I did. But one day, my counselor, she was talking to me and things, and I decided to get honest, I'm drinking this much, I'm drinking all this right here, and things started to change a little bit, Alphonso started to do things a little bit different, I wanted to be that good son that I was, back before I started drinking and things. And at some point, I was offered to go to treatment. I don't know if I was offered or they made me go, one of the two. But I went to treatment in Nuremberg. It was really neat. It was really neat, But before I went, I went to a couple of AA meetings, and I seen there's this lady in there. Her name was Pat Darden. She's passed away now, and she's one of the first people I met in the AA meeting. She's a redhead lady, always smiling, loud, And I see her every meeting I go to. There's a Pat Darden there always, And it's really great. It's really great to see people in those meetings and see them smiling and having fun, and getting sober, But, I went to my first meeting and things, and, I was a little scared and stuff like that, But one of the things that when I went to that meeting that you guys told me, as far as listening to the similarities, Because if I'd have went in there and I felt that, somebody was talking in a way that I couldn't relate to them, or they didn't drink like I did, I'm not sure if I would have stayed. And it was really neat because when I went to that meeting and listened to people share, not only from, speaking, but to share their stories, I knew they understood how I felt, how I was, because they drank and did the things that I did, and I ended up going to treatment, which was treatment saved my life. It really saved my life, I walked up in there and I had this counselor, guy named Al, he asked me, "What are you doing in here?" He's a big black guy, He said, "What are you doing in here?" I'm like, I'm trying to get sober and things. He said, "Don't you know this is a white man disease?" And, I know he's playing these mind tricks with me and things, Said, but it kind of had me, I was able to look at myself and look what's going on and I really wanted to be here. He said, "Well, for you to be here, as far as doing whatever it took for me to stay sober, would I be willing to do that, as far as jumping out the window, And at that point, really, I was willing to do anything it took for me to get sober. I didn't like who I was, But while I was in there, we had these different assignments and stuff that we had to do. And, one of those assignments was being able to look in the mirror, and write down what you see, what you see. And I've never done that. I never really looked at myself and tried to figure out who I was, And that was really eye-opening for me, Like I said, just being there and be willing to go through and do the things I needed to do in order to get sober, trying to do those things, while I was going through treatment and while I was new in AA, I had these goals, that I wanted to accomplish, and some of these things I learned about in treatment, how we had to have these set goals for ourselves, and for myself. And one of the things, as I grew up in Alcoholics Anonymous, I just had this stuttering problem, and a lot of times I had to think about what I had to say before I said it. A lot of times my mom would tell me don't even talk to her when I started stuttering and stuff, So, but I always wanted to read how it works, read the readings in AA, or pass the chips out, or even chair a meeting, These are little small goals that I put out for myself, as I stayed in Alcoholics Anonymous, not to mention to be able to share my story, who would have thought, I would never figure this out. For me to go 7 days without a drink was a miracle for me. I never went that long without having something, since I started drinking, at the age of 14. For me to have 7 days not having anything, that was my biggest accomplishment in Alcoholics Anonymous, back then, and I've been constantly trying to do this one day at a time, But like I say, when I was in treatment, one of the things that we had to do when we left for the weekends or something was we had to write down what it is that we were going to do or where we were going and all this stuff to be accountable and all these other things. I can remember one time going over to a friend's house, to his girlfriend's house or something, but she had this big breakfast set out for us. I never had a big breakfast like that. She had like 7 different drinks on the table as far as things for us to drink for breakfast. That was unheard of for me. Orange juice, coffee, water, just all kind of stuff to drink for breakfast. I just thought it was just amazing to me, But a lot of amazing things have happened to me since I've been in Alcoholics Anonymous. I met a lot of amazing people, being in here. I can remember going back to my barracks, after treatment, and then one guy told me the only reason I was sober was because I went through treatment, I knew then he didn't understand the disease, this disease of alcoholism, because I struggled. It was hard, just trying not to drink one day at a time. One of the things that had to learn to do was take this facade down, because I always wanted you to think everything was okay, I'm cool, everything's great with me, and I had to learn to, take that mask off, and let people inside, let people know me, know that I'm not great or good at doing certain things, I can remember one day, us guys being in the treatment facility, they'd bus us out somewhere, we play softball and stuff like this here. And here I hate softball, I'm scared of that ball. It just goes too fast, I wanted to hit me in the face, and I'm trying to pretend that, I know what I'm doing, and I was in one day, the ball came at me, I failed, had white pants on, got grass stains. Everybody thought it was funny except for me, But, stuff like that, I had this car one time, and it was a pretty cool car. It was a little T-top car, and I thought it was pretty cool. But, when I came into AA, I got rid of that car and got me a little nice Nissan Sentra. It was a little box car, a little 87 Nissan Sentra back in the day, because I wanted to take that look away from myself. I want people to think that, I was trying to get serious about this program and get serious about how, staying sober one day at a time, I didn't want any distractions, And when I just had a great time up there in that treatment facility, and I still know some of the people, some of the counselors from back then. Back in '87, we still communicate. We're still friends today. And it's really awesome. One of the things that happens when you become my friend, you have to be careful. Because it's like a hostage. I hold you hostage and things, and you always be my friend. And it's really neat. Coming in AA, and learning about the relationships in this program, when I go through things, how I give myself a year, bad relationships, marriages, and things like that there. Give myself a year, and knowing that women are here for the same reason, just trying to get sober, and just like men take women hostages, women can do the same thing, and that's one of the things I learned in this program. I learned so much in this program. I can remember being in treatment, we had this assignment where we had to stay together, and I seen my counselor come up, and I just, broke protocol, wouldn't say hello, blah, blah, blah. Next day in group, my counselor's like, I don't know, somebody snitched on me. I don't know what happened. They seen it, but I didn't own up to it, and that's one of the things I learned in this program as far as being responsible, being that adult, and, but just telling the truth. Telling the truth and things. I had my counselor one time. She had asked me about a relationship she was in. And I was really in awe because nobody really didn't care. What I thought about anything. But for this lady to ask me about a relationship that she was in, that really said a whole lot. I'm like, wow. I mean, this is really nice, really good. But. Kind of fast forward a little bit, since I've been in AA, I got married for the first time in, I don't even know what year it was. But the marriage lasts like 30 days. I came from overseas, and I thought we were supposed to get married. I thought God, I always have this thing where I know what God wants for me. And I thought he wanted me to marry this young lady, that I knew back in high school, not knowing anything about her, because I've been in Germany for so long, but it lasts 30 days. Her brother came, picked her up, and she left. But one of the things she was saying was, she was crying like, why me, or something like that there, and it goes both ways. It happened to me. It also happened to me in another relationship, and things just happen, My second marriage, I met this young lady, and once again, I thought God was telling me I needed to help this young lady, help her get sober, and just help her with her life, and be that knight in shining armor. And we got married and things. And when I met her, she was in a wheelchair. She got shot doing a drug deal and things. She's in a wheelchair, so she had some real bad ailments, and she's taking a lot of medications and stuff like that there. But, the honeymoon started out real well, and before you know it, we was at each other's throats. We couldn't stand each other, and that was really, all this is in recovery, in sobriety, but, we was going at each other back and forth. It was really bad, but she couldn't, for life of her, she couldn't stay clean or sober and things, and, one day when I was, we was going through a divorce, basically. But I was driving an 18-wheeler back then. But let me tell you this, before all that happened, one of the things that I wanted to do in order for me to, I joined the police department, I figured if I can't beat them, I join them, I joined the police department, hang out with the good guys, I stay out of trouble and continue on like that, And it worked for a while. It really did. Even on the police department, riding in the patrol cars, I hear the sirens and stuff. I get a little nervous still, they're going to find me out. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm not supposed to be here. But, I really enjoy helping people, helping the victim, and I'm not first today, when I go somewhere, especially to a domestic, because you're the first person that called, doesn't mean you're not wrong in what you're doing, But me and my wife was going through a lot of issues and things. But I came home one day to try to help her out, because I wasn't staying there. And I went upstairs to do something. Next thing I know, somebody knocked on the door and said, "Police come to the door." I'm like, okay, yeah, what's going on? They say, I'm in handcuffs and I'm in jail. You know, here I am, a police officer in jail, you know. So, and the whole time I was there, you know, I knew there was a reason for me to be there, you know, and that's because of this program. I know everything, you know, in my life, you know, it happens for a reason, you know, and I was able to use that later on, you know, to help somebody else, you know. But the whole time I was there, you know, I was telling myself, you know, although I was, you know, snotting and crying back there in the cell by myself, there was a reason for me to be there today, you know. And because of this program, I can work through things like that, you know. I can work through those bad things that happen, you know, to good people, you know, or the people in general, you know. But long story short, my wife, she ended up committing suicide, you know, and she just couldn't get this program, you know. And I didn't have to drink over it. I didn't have to drink over it, you know. And I know today, you know, some of us die in order for others to live. You know, I know that today. You know, and I try to keep things in perspective today. You know, I was able to go back on the police department and things, you know, and today I'm a 911 dispatcher, you know, and still trying to get back on the police department. Dispatching is, it can be a headache sometimes, you know. But life is really good today, you know, and one of the things that really helped me out when I first came to Alcoholics Anonymous was the service work. You know, service work. And, you know, back then, you know, it was cleaning the ashtrays out and trash and everything else that went with that, you know. And I kind of hung around AA doing that, trying to, you know, doing it from, well, not being out front, you know. Like I said, I just was a shy person for the most part, you know. But like I say, emptying ashtrays and cleaning up and stuff. But it came a point to where when I got out of treatment, you know, I was over in Germany. I was opening an AA meeting. You know, they gave me the keys to an AA meeting. I was opening it up. You know, and I kind of, you know, it was kind of like my meeting at one point, you know, and I had things the way I like them and stuff like this here. But it was really nice. It was really nice to be trusted, you know, with the keys to open it up and to be a part of Alcoholics Anonymous. You know, to get the cookies and set stuff up, you know. And one day, one of the things, they gave me this plaque one time, and it had a little mirror in the middle of it. It says, "You're looking at the person responsible for your sobriety," you know. And for a long time, you know, I used to give that for the people that was in my life, you know, back when I went through treatment, you know, the people in these rooms. You know, I gave you the credit for me being sober, you know. You know, when I came in, you guys were talking about the higher power, you know, choose whoever you wanted to be or what you wanted to be and things like that. And I worked through it all. I really did. You know, I used whatever I could in order for me to stay sober and stay in this program, you know, to stay here. I can remember when I went back home to my parents' house, 18 months in the program, you know, and I thought I had it, you know, I thought I knew the program. I knew how to stay sober. I did it for a year. You know, I went through all the holidays and all this, the birthdays, you know, so I was pretty good. You know, until that one day, you know, I was driving down the road in Alabama, coming to see a friend of mine in the program, you know, and I oversteered my sister's car, you know, and I totaled her BMW, you know, and I was like, oh, my God, here I am coming back home, you know, trying to show my parents, you know, and the world, you know, hey, I'm a good guy now, man. I got 18 months in the program, you know. But, you know, I wrecked my sister's car, you know, and then I came home, and the next day my mom's like, don't you need to go to an AA meeting or something, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I do, you know. And I went to an AA meeting, and I shared what had happened, you know, because here I am coming back home, you know, I'm still doing the same things I was doing before I left. Still wrecking people's cars. I'm still causing problems for the family. You know, I still feel like a black sheep, you know, more or less, you know. But my sister, she was happy that I didn't die in that car wreck. And I went and shared an AA meeting, and the lady shared with me how she had killed somebody while she was out drinking and driving. You know, and each time I think that nobody has done what I did or worse than what I did. You know, I'm surprised every time I share something to AA. I'm not unique at all in this program, you know. I'm really not. You know, it's nice to hear, like I say, when other people share their stories and things and the similarities, you know. I know exactly what you're talking about. You know, and it's nice, you know, when I come in here and I see people working through their program sometimes, you know, and they get to tearing up and stuff, and but they're working, you know, and it's awesome. It's really awesome. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy seeing that. Because even when me and my wife was going through that stuff, I was going through Al-Anon, man. I was crying my eyes out in Al-Anon. This is not supposed to be happening to me. I'm in AA. I've been here a little while now. I ain't supposed to be having these problems. Not like that. But I went to Al-Anon and I cried and I had to learn how to detach with love. And that's what I did. Wow. There's something else I wanted to share. But like I said, but doing the service work, I enjoy doing the service work and just staying involved with service work. I recently became the CPC in Fayetteville, not knowing exactly what it entailed, but everybody else had picked the position, so we only had one left, and I was just there, so it kind of fell in my lap, to be honest with you. And I'm learning from it. It's nice to not know everything, and coming in Alcoholics Anonymous, for me to just be willing to learn about AA and what goes on, because a lot of times, even the other night, I hear so much that I don't know. I hear somebody share something, I'm like, wow, I need to go back and read that big book some more, you know what I'm saying? Although I've read something they've said, a lot of times people get here and they share something and that's exactly how I feel, Sometimes I just can't voice things the way other people can, but that's okay today. It's really okay today, and it's really nice to be able to come up here and to share. Like I say, I'm like, well, get through this, then I can relax a little bit again and things like that. There, but the whole time, you guys told me in order to keep it, I have to give it away. And that's one of the things that I want to do. I want to keep this. I want to keep what you've given me, freely given me. And part of that is just sharing my story and things. Sharing what it was like, what happened, what it's like today, But like I said, if you're a newcomer, and I don't say this a whole lot, but what was told to me was don't give up before the miracle happens, and I held on to my seat really tight, a couple of times, you guys told me to, and I did, There was this thing when I went through treatment. It says, we got this plaque for our counselors. It says, I accept life on life's terms. And for me, that was like my get out of jail free card, accepting life on life's terms. If I can do that, I have a chance of staying sober today, one day at a time. No matter what comes into my life, I don't have to drink over, and I just have to remember that, stay prayed up, and stay close to AA and, hang out with the winners, it's awesome. These folks come down here just to hear me share my story, and that's really awesome. I have some beautiful friends today. I really do. God has put so many beautiful people in my life today. And today I don't have to run people away just by looking at them, I can get up, I can talk to anybody. And I try to go out there and help somebody all the time. It might not be an AA, just be some earth person out there or elderly person or things. I try to do service work all the time, helping another individual. And I really appreciate Steve, asking me to share my story. All 2 months ago, it was, no problem, But to come up here and to do it, it's really awesome. And I enjoy coming up here, seeing you guys. And thank you so much just for being here, for allowing me to share. Thank you.